Hello everyone and welcome to another custom figure Redux, and today we're going to be looking at another Dalek custom, but as this turns around to the back you can see that this Dalek has only one set of globes on the back of it, and that is because this is my Redux custom figure of my Wilkie Dalek. So for a bit of background that don't know about this, the Wilkie Dalek appears in Evil of the Daleks, where it had to be sort of rebuilt and remade to have a slightly sort of thinner skirt so it could more easily get through some doorways and things like that. And most prominently this Dalek appears as one of the guards of Victoria Waterfield. So it's an interesting little sort of curiosity as a Dalek prop, and a lovely little bit of side note for this is the actual original prop for this now actually resides in the personal collection of renowned film director, writer Peter Jackson of Lord of the Rings fame. He actually owns this Dalek now. But I originally did a 3D printed version of this using Edward Felix's Renegade Dalek bases, which did look very good. I was very pleased with it, but it didn't look quite right because the shape was obviously more the sort of slimmer 80s version. The globes were sort of slightly larger than they needed to be. It just didn't look quite right. So it was one that I always wanted to go back and revisit, and so that is what I've done here. And I need to give a very special shout out here to Striker123 over on Thingiverse, because this base is actually a remix of one of their designs from sort of classic 60s Daleks. I am going to be putting the files for this up on Thingiverse. As I said, it's a remix, so it's going to be going up there obviously with full credit to them, but for anyone else who wants to make this, what I've effectively done here is the top part is a classic Dalek, as you can see. The only real difference that I've made to this, as you can see on the front, is I have slightly resculpted the front band so that it sort of lifts up a little bit like it does on the original prop, and then I have tried to match the bit underneath to the skirt base, but unfortunately it didn't work quite well. But it's a great use for Dalek spare parts, because this is, again, I have completely taken apart a classic Dalek to do this, but I should say all of the Dalek parts for this were spares that I have had hanging around in the bottom of my box from other customs, with the possible exception of the dome. That is one of the more recent B&M ones, but even then that was just a simple dome swap I think I did for I think this is originally the dome that I used on my Evil of the Daleks Emperor destroyed guard, funny enough. So there's a nice little bit of symmetry there. But yeah, so the top part is a standard Dalek. The bottom part is obviously all 3D printed. It's got little sort of globes on the base to hold it up as well. The only thing that I will say is the globes on the sides aren't quite as pronounced, and it's not quite as squat as it possibly should be. However, again, it's worth noting that this is not meant to be an accurate Dalek by any means, because obviously the prop itself was extremely inaccurate, and I actually found by trying to make it squatter it became more difficult to fit the top onto the 3D printed base, because it meant it was literally only glued at the front and the sides, and just no matter how I tried to glue it, it just kept coming away because there was just nothing. I needed a bit on the sides to hold it in. And again, you know, the little things like, you know, the globes not being big enough, I don't think it really matters, to be honest. I still think it looks the part, and it's more getting that sort of classic Dalek shape, because as it spins around to the front it looks like a Dalek, as it spins around to the side it looks like a Dalek. It's only when you get to the back view like that you can see that it is sort of slightly squatter than it needs to be. But I think that's kind of the point. You know, you don't want it to look too incongruous, but you want it to look different enough that it looks the part. So as I said, I am going to put the files for this up on Thingiverse, obviously with credit to Striker123 for their original work on this. It's a great one to do if you've got spares for Daleks hanging about and things like that, because it's such a unique little Dalek to do, that I think it would absolutely be one that I think people would definitely clamour after. Again, unfortunately, I think it's unlikely this is one we're going to ever see from character, because it would negate an entirely new Dalek sculpt. But you know, it would be an interesting one to see. I know we've seen it, I think, through Eagle Moss But again, you know, I quite like having these sorts of variants that aren't official figures because it gives the customizers the opportunity to make something unique and a bit different. But that brings to a close another custom figure Redux, as always. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Like, favorite, subscribe, share, it really helps me a lot. And be sure to description below for a link to my Patreon. I am still doing my figure animation, there is an update coming on it in future. But for the meantime, all of your donations are greatly received, and for the smallest donation you can get your name at the end of my videos. I salute you all, and I will see you with another video very soon.